They are going to increase this time to 15 years. So before you are able to apply for your British citizenship, you must have been on that for 15 years before you are able to qualify. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Vivian and I make videos around living in the UK, studying in the UK or studying abroad, videos about immigration, travel and so much more. If you're thinking about moving to the UK or you know someone who is planning to come to the UK, please watch this video. Recently, there's a lot of news about the proposed changes or what the UK Conservative Party is proposing if they come back to power. The UK Conservative Party is led by Kemi Badenoch, and the party is proposing very strict immigration rules. This means that if they win the next election, getting permanent residency or becoming a British citizen will become very tough. Before you make plans to move to the UK or travel to the UK, think twice. In this video, I will explain what these immigration changes or rules that the Conservative Party is proposing means. I will talk about the difference between permanent residency and British citizenship and what everything they have said means. I have watched lots of videos around this topic and many people are just talking about what they said, how difficult it will be for people to move to the UK or gain their permanent residency in the UK. And then I asked myself, what if I explain what these points actually mean to people, and then this will be able to help them make informed decisions on whether they still want to move to the UK. And they should also bear in mind that if the Conservative Party comes back to power, this type of changes will definitely be implemented and it will become law. Number one, what could change? So let's look at number one, long wait for British citizenship. Right now, you can apply for British citizenship after 6 years, okay, depending on the route that you are currently on. So I'm going to talk about the minimum amount of time you can use to get your British citizenship. So currently, if you're on a 5-year route, it means that after your 5 years, you can then apply for ILR, which means Indefinite Leave to Remain. You will stay on that visa for 1 year, then before you qualify to apply for British citizenship. So after 6 years in total, you'll be able to apply to become a British citizen. That's the current law. Now, what the Conservative Party is proposing, according to Times UK, is that they are going to increase this time to 15 years. So before you are able to apply for your British citizenship, you must have been on ILR or Indefinite Leave to Remain for 15 years before you are able to qualify. The new rule will mean that this time will then increase to 15 years. So it will no longer be after 6 years, but after 16 years before you can apply for your British passport. Secondly, there's more years before you get your ILR, which is Indefinite Leave to Remain. So currently, like I mentioned before you apply for your ILR, you must have lived in the country for 5 years. So the Conservative Party is proposing 10 years long residency before you then qualify to apply for your ILR, which is Indefinite Leave to Remain. What I'm explaining in this video are backed by lots of sources. For example, this one is by Guardian UK, okay? And of course, there will be stricter rules for ILR applicants. One of them is that for you to get your ILR or Indefinite Leave to Remain, you must prove that you've never claimed any benefits, okay? Although I know that currently lots of visas come with no access to public funds or no recourse to public funds, okay? You might also have some other ones that give some sort of benefits, okay? So, but for you to have your ILR, in this their new rule that they are proposing, you must show that you haven't claimed any benefits before or used any public funding. You must also show that you have no criminal records. So criminal records can be from, different angles depending on how you look at it. For example, someone who is driving, let's say the person is driving on the road with a limit of about 20, or let me say 50, and then the person mistakenly started driving at around 52 to 55. So they send a letter to the person, either the DVLA or the police who is controlling that traffic area. The person receives a letter and they tell the person that you're supposed to pay or to do some sort of courses. So sometimes you are fined or sometimes you're asked to go and do short courses to put you on the right track so that you become more focused when you're driving. So let's say that the person has moved out of the address and then the person received this letter without actually updating the address with the DVLA. Sometimes it can happen, okay? Sometimes it can take like 2 months, somebody moves from an address, a previous address, without actually, it takes time to settle down in a new address. I'm not justifying the reason the person would not want to change the address, but I'm just saying that it happens, okay? So the person did not change the address and the person receives a letter. Maybe the letter was not returned, for example, and then they would assume that the person have received the letter. Of course, if they carry on, this case can take through a long period of time where they try to reach the person through those letters and they are not able to reach the person. And then eventually they take it to court, they judge the case, they find the person, and that will be a criminal record, right? So criminal records can be in so many different ways. Sometimes you are given a ticket, and this case of moving away from one address to another might also apply to that parking ticket, and of course that will also be criminal records. Okay, these type of scenarios are very common with people. Okay, so you must show that you have no sort of criminal record. I'm not talking about criminal records in criminal record, but I'm talking about these small offenses that would then lead to criminal offense. Okay, so with what they are proposing, the Conservative Party, you must show that you have no sort of criminal records. Now, let me explain the key concepts here. I've explained the ILR, okay, but I'm going to compare it to British citizenship. Many people do not know the difference between ILR, which is indefinite leave to remain, and British citizenship. So let me break it down for you. What is ILR? So ILR simply means indefinite leave to remain. You can live in the UK indefinitely. You do not require a visa to work, okay? So you kind of qualify for almost the same things that the British citizens qualify for. You can access public funds, social housing, lots of things. The only thing is you don't have a passport, but you don't need a visa to work in the UK. So you've been in the UK for a very long time. You gain this status of indefinite leave to remain. It means that you can stay in the UK indefinitely. And once you're on that indefinite leave to remain path, you can choose to then become a British citizen. Okay, some people don't want to become British citizens, others want. So for those that don't want to become British citizens, they can decide to live in the UK indefinitely for as long as they want to live, but they may not want to become British citizens. For some people, their countries only allow single citizenship, while other countries allow dual citizenship. So people have different reasons as to whether they want to become British citizens or not. So ILR, or indefinite leave to remain, allows you to stay in the UK indefinitely, but you are not a British citizen. That's the only difference, okay? Should you decide to change your mind, that is up to you. ILR holders, if they leave the UK for more than 2 years, they will lose the status of ILR. So once you get your ILR, you have 12 months, which is 1 year, to apply to become a British citizen if you want. So let's talk about British citizenship. Of course, this is the same as any other country's citizenship. Being a British citizen, you are allowed to have a British passport. So you are a national of Britain, okay? You cannot be deported, although this may have some clause around it, but on a normal ground, you cannot be deported, okay? And you can never lose your right to stay in the UK. That's a British citizen. You can vote in UK general elections and all UK elections. Your vote matters. Now, let's look at the Conservative Party is proposing. So, for you to become a British citizen, with the new Conservative Party proposals, you must stay in the UK, or you must have been in the UK for 15 years. And like I mentioned before, you must show that you are a net contributor to the society or to the UK economy. What does it mean to be a net contributor to the UK economy? To be a net contributor to the UK economy, you must pay tax. You pay more taxes, more than you receive in government benefit. And you have not used any sort of public funds, housing benefits, or social housing, even universal credit. Now think about it. A lot of people go on universal credit if they lose job for like a short while, maybe like a month or two, they just go on universal credit, and once they get a new job, they update their status and they come out of universal credit. With this new Conservative Party's proposal, you must show that you're a net contributor to the UK economy. And it means that you have never claimed any sort of benefit, whether it's universal credit or any sort of council support funds, for you to be a net contributor to the UK economy. And you must earn enough to show your financial stability. Okay, you must have a very good job to make sure that you meet that financial threshold and you are stable in the country. You are not depending on the government to take care of you or your family. So all of these make up being a net contributor to the UK economy, which means that if you've ever depended on any of the government funding or any public funds whatsoever, your application might be denied. So take note of this, okay? So I want to tell you that you need to think twice before you take any harsh decision or any decision that can affect you in the future, okay? If the Conservative Party wins the next election, these rules that they are proposing might become laws, and it will make it very difficult for you to secure your British citizenship or to get your settlement in the UK. Before you think of moving to the UK, or whether you are planning already to move to the UK, ask yourself this question. Can you afford to live in the UK permanently? Can you afford to live in the UK for 10 years before you can permanently secure your residency status? Are you okay not accessing any of the public funds, benefits, housing benefits? Are you okay with that? Ask yourself these questions. Do you have a high demand for skill sets that will guarantee you a job or will help you to qualify for a visa, a COS or certificate of sponsorship, or a job that they can give you visa, they can sponsor you to stay in the country? Do you have that high demand skill? Ask yourself that question as well. And finally, ask yourself, will you be a net contributor to the UK economy? Ask yourself that question. If you don't have answers to these questions yet, I need you to reflect on them. If you already have those answers and you can, then it's okay to move to the UK. However, if you have these answers and the answers are no, please think about other alternatives, okay? I'm also going to share other alternative countries that you can relocate to that have better immigration policies around international students or immigrants in general. If you think that at any point the UK will become difficult for you, you can consider Canada. Canada has easier residency pathways. It has high demand for skilled workers and, of course, friendlier immigration policies. How about Australia? They have the skilled migration program. They also have higher wages, and they also have clear path to securing your permanent residency. Talking about New Zealand. New Zealand has one of the lowest population. It has good work-life balance, okay? You'll be able to balance your work with your family and your personal life. And they also have easier skilled worker visa routes. Next on my list is Germany. Germany has very high demand for workers. Most of their schools are free. They sponsor you, but you must speak their language. Okay, if you learn the German language, you may be able to get a free education. Okay, it also has low cost education and, of course, very strong economy. Now back to the USA. The USA has the job-based green card options, better wages, of course, and you'll be able to manage your money very well. If you've been in the UK for years, a lot of people will tell you, although I make very good money, but everything goes back to the country. Of course, this is another problem that people in the UK are facing. The US also has lots of business opportunities and they have better wages. Okay, so a lot of people in the UK will tell you that they've been in the UK for years, although they work and they make lots of money, but as soon as they make this money, every month their salary disappears very quickly. Some people will complain that the day they pay them is the day the money will finish. Okay, so this has been a problem. Everything you make goes back to the country. You can barely save a lot to keep in your pocket in the UK. So this has been happening to so many people. I'm not just saying it. So with the US, you earn where you live and you still be able to save. For example, a nurse in the UK, let's say the NHS pays them between 26 to 30,000 pounds. In the US, they can earn up to maybe $87,000 to $120,000. And of course, the margin is a lot high. You can see the difference. Even though you pay for your insurance in the US, you pay for your health insurance. In the UK, we have the free NHS. But even NHS now is becoming too crowded. And they're complaining that it's because of migrants. Okay, NHS that we usually will get for free, even though you are saying, okay, we get free treatment, how many times in a month, in a year, do you actually go to the hospital? If you weigh your options, of course, you'll be able to answer these key questions. Which country you think would be better for you to relocate to? So these are some of the things you think about, okay? However, do know that UK is not completely closing its doors, okay? They are not closing their door to immigrants. They still want people to come. But know that if the Conservative Party wins and they come back to power, getting your permanent residency will definitely become harder, because one of the things they're proposing is that they want to cut down on immigration, because they feel that immigrants are affecting a lot of things in the UK and making things harder for them to get. One of them is the NHS I just mentioned. They said that because of immigrants, the long wait in A&E, for example, has drastically increased. Also, getting citizenship, not just permanent residency, will become very hard as well. Do know that even though I've said all of these things, these policies are just proposals for now, but they could become laws in the future. My advice is for you to always check the latest immigration updates and, of course, from the UKVI website or government sources to make sure that you have the up to date information so that this will help you make your informed decision as to whether you want to move to the UK, you want to stay in the UK, or you want to move to another country. What do you think about these changes? Do you think it's something you can cope with? Even after that, you still think that UK is a better place for you to stay? Just tell us what you think in the comments below. Okay, if you've enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe. This is still a baby channel, so I always beg you to subscribe to my channel. I want to grow this channel. And with this content I'm giving you, I believe that they will help you make your informed decision in any area of your choice, whether moving to the UK, whether life in the UK, raising a family in the UK, all of these topics I mentioned, I talk about. So please like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification button so that whenever I release a new video, you'll be the first person to get the video. Thank you for watching. Bye.